What's up, everybody? Mike here, and in this video I want to go over why you should be hyped for Lords of the Fallen, the new reboot remake of the game, of the 2014 game that's coming out here very soon, October 13th, that is. And if you don't know what it is, this is a Souls-like. This is an action RPG Souls-like, and there's probably some confusion. It's like, is this a full-on remake or is it a sequel? Well, let's answer that first here because I got a lot to talk about. So the answer is that, this 2023's Lords of the Fallen is actually both a remake and a sequel, apparently, to 2014's Lords of the Fallen. It's confusing. I get it, right? It takes place more than 1,000 years after the events of the original game. For some reason, I don't know, the heads, honchos, whoever decided to be like, well, let's just call it Lords of the Fallen. Originally, at one point, it was like just Lords of the Fallen 2, which I think they should have stuck with that, personally. And then they got switched to the Lords of the Fallen, and then they dropped the, and now it's Lords of the Fallen. Yeah, go figure. Are you confused? So am I. So, anyway, there you have it. It's the Souls-like sequel / reboot. It's going to breathe new life into the game, essentially, in the franchise. It's actually being made by a different team, too, by Hexworks. Not Deck 13 this time. So they're also using Unreal Engine 5, which is fantastic. This is just one of the few, if not handful of games this year alone that we're starting to get these Unreal Engine 5 games coming out to be playable and really experience, what the engine can do. This is relying on chaos physics for simulating close and lumen for global illumination and extensive light bounces without affecting performance. Characters feel more lifelike as they move, and armor sets seamlessly fit their form thanks to the customization technology as well. And that's very good for something like this and type of game. You want the animations to be crisp, fluid, and everything like that. And echoing onto that, or adding on to it, I should say, is the fluid responsive combat. So you'll be confronting relentless legions of a deer, or crumble and yield to the depths of despair, basically. So a Souls-like game, typically Souls games, Souls-likes, everything's out to kill you in these games. It's just, they're difficult, they're challenging, they're usually mostly fair, rewarding. And if you mess up and die, it's usually your fault, because if you messed up on something like a dodge or a block or something like that. More details, though, here is your legacy that hinges on your tactical approach in Lords of the Fallen as you embark on your mission to conquer the shadows. The seamless integration of melee, magic, and ranged abilities will aid you in your survival. So you got to seize the opportunity to, sign up to 4 extra magical or ranged skills to your controller, instantly bestowing upon you an extensive array of combat choices. This intricate system not only enriches the spectrum of combat, allowing you to weave together an almost boundless series of combinations, but it also quickens the tempo of the battle by eliminating the need for constant ability swaps, aimed with this arsenal at your fingertip. And you're poised to obliterate all adversaries in your path. Oh yeah. So being, this is very much a Souls-like effort. And I think I've read it somewhere where they're trying to sort of go for a Dark Souls 4.5 type of feel or vibe. It probably doesn't come as any sort of great surprise that Lords of the Fallen is a punishing third-person action RPG with emphasis on super precise combat, casting players as one of the last Dark Crusaders. It has you tearing across a broken world, destroying monsters, uncovering loot, and vanquishing ultra-hard bosses. Yeah, or at least trying to anyway. Boasting a game world that is more than 5 times the size of the realm that players were treated to in its predecessor. This game showcases far more complex and sophisticated worlds that are all interconnected by a vast range of corridors, walkways, and hidden passages. Of course, being a Souls-like, Lords of the Fallen also encompasses many of the typical design elements one would expect to see in such titles. Front and center, naturally, is the concept of regenerating enemies whenever you hit a save point. Elsewhere, and much like other Souls-like offerings from years past, there is a dynamic PvPvE element where players can be summoned to take down challenging foes in co-op, or can invade your game session and make things, well, very bad indeed for you. Also, there's a variety of weapons that will be in the game, with each having their own skills to unleash, similar to Elden Ring's Ashes of War. In addition, players have magic they use, which I kind of, touched on this a bit earlier. There are 3 schools of magic: Rogar, Radiant, and Umbral. Rogar is like Pyromancy and scales off your Infernal stat. Radiant scales off your Radiance and offers buffs along with lightning magic. Umbral is interesting because it scales off Infernal and Radiance and unleashes bombs, energy waves, and more. Players can also learn other types of magic, like frost and poison, and apply them to their weapons. Not only that, you can learn variations of magic used by enemies that sometimes drop when slaying them. So, if you defeat a boss, for example, and use a Soul Fray on their remains, you can obtain a version of their spell. This game also has seamless online co-op. Annihilation awaits those who neglect to confront the terrors of the realm there. Nevertheless, assistance is readily available to modest fighters who set aside their pride by tapping into vestiges scattered throughout essentially the world there in the game. One can summon support from a companion or another destined soul that can assist you on your quest. The realm of Lords of the Fallen can be faced jointly without interruption throughout your entire quest. So looks like they're going high for this. Seamless co-op, no interruptions, no issues, unless obviously one of you has got some bad internet or something going on there. But I think a lot of us have some decent internet, so should be fine. Axiom and Umbral and Death. These 3 things are very important things to talk about and point out, and I'll relate to each other. So simply put, Axiom is the land of the living and Umbral is the land of the dead. Axiom being the main world you navigate and battle enemies in. When dying, you travel to Umbral and must battle shadowy creatures hungering for your soul to return to the living. Failing to do so puts you at the nearest checkpoint and having to backtrack to pick up any dropped XP, and certain enemies may draw you into Umbral whether you want it or not. Access's parallel world can also be attained by employing the Umbral Lamp. Embarking on this parallel journey bestows upon you the power to peer beyond the veil, bridging the 2 domains for your benefit. You can uncover nightmarish bridges spawning vast chasms in the Umbral realm, or reveal concealed treasures that assist you in your mission. Nevertheless, exercise utmost caution, for prolonged exposure leads to the corruption of your mind by invading malevolent forces. Next up is classes. So there's, currently no less than 9 starting classes in Lords of the Fallen, with 1 additional class that is unlocked, apparently to bring that total to 10 classes overall. You got Blackfeather Ranger, Condemned, Dark Crusader, Exiled Stalker, Hollowed Knight, Mornstead Infantry, Orient Preacher, Partisan, Pure Cultist, Deuteragar Warwolf. I might be mispronouncing that, I do apologize. But that's essentially the gist of what that list is. There's not much other details right now about what each, is good at, specializes in, things like that. So just have to wait till the full game comes out. Now, playtime can take newcomers roughly 30 hours or so. But for those used to Souls games and Souls likes, it should take you about roughly 25 hours. Then again, if you're trying to explore everything, take your time with it, it'll probably take you longer than that. New Game Plus is also available, offering some fun twists. So the bonfires of this game are called Ancient Vestiges. And you can only get 1 vestige in the HUD area on New Game Plus. If you want to unlock more, you need to get vestige seedlings and make it yourself. So, and lastly, as I mentioned before, this releases October 13th. But if you don't know, it's coming to PS5, PS4, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, and Steam. So it's very exciting to see this. We're getting a lot of, Souls-like love lately. We had Lies of P just drop recently. We got Lords of the Fallen coming out here, which looks to be very promising and looks very good overall. A big step up from the 2014 version. I've actually personally been dipping into the 2014 version. Oh my God, is that game janky. Holy hell. And the environmental storytelling and stuff like that is not really all that good compared to other Souls games and Souls-like. So this looks like, this reboot, sequel, remake is going to just essentially fix a lot of issues that were in that 2014 game, improve upon stuff, add some, vastly new stuff, game mechanics to it, that are just going to make it more interesting and fun to play. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope this information was helpful to you and you enjoyed this. If you did, drop a like, comment below your thoughts on this, subscribe if you're new, and hit that bell for notifications. because this is what one of the games I'm very much excited for that's come out the rest of this year. Let me know if you're excited about this and picking it up as well too. My name is Mike, and I'll see you next time.